Good day and welcome to Alena Media TV. We are broadcasting from Canada. I am Elsa Abraham, and in this episode we are bringing you the focus on the Horn of Africa. Here is your headline. Tigray aid response is too little, too late, poll respondents say. Let's go for a quick break. We'll be right back. Kindly stay with us. Welcome back from that short break. Now, people in northern Ethiopia get less humanitarian relief compared to those facing the impact of conflict in northern Nigeria, Afghanistan, or Central African Republic, an independent poll released today by research group Humanitarian Outcomes Fund. Fewer than half the conflict-affected people in Ethiopia's Tigray region had received help since the conflict began in November. The survey revealed those that did said it wasn't enough, and 79% overall believed aid was not reaching the areas most in need. A quarter said government and military groups were blocking or taking the aid from them. Compared to respondents in other conflict zones who answered the same questionnaire, Tigrayans are less sure of the reasons for uneven aid provision. The report suggests that limited telecommunications and media coverage could be a contributing factor. The survey of 614 people in Tigray was conducted by phone from late February to early March. Despite on and off power and mobile network connections, the sample included people across the major regions of Tigray, but few displaced people. The survey provides new evidence to gauge the reach of humanitarian aid in a tense debate between the government and the international community over the scale and seriousness of all the fallout from Ethiopia's 5-month conflict. The conflict began in November, when federal government forces clashed with armed insurgents supporting the regional political party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front. Other Tigrayan militia, the Eritrean military, and forces from the neighboring Amara region are also involved. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has said that the government campaign is necessary assertion of national legitimacy as the country is faced with an armed rebel. His government has regained control of major towns in Tigray and installed a provisional administration. But military clashes continue, and massacres, forced displacement, sexual violence, looting, halting of trade and communication, and disruption of daily life mean most of the estimated 6 million people in the region are negatively affected, and millions need some kind of help. The UN's humanitarian office calls the situation extremely dire and far from improving. EU envoy Pekka Havisto is visiting the country this week, the latest in a series of diplomatic efforts to contain the conflict that threatens to destabilize the whole country and the wider region. The report notes that compared to other crisis situations monitored by the overarching project on the coverage, operational reach, and effectiveness of humanitarian aid, Tigray has the highest numbers of people in need as a percentage of the population, the lowest numbers of organizations responding, and the lowest percentage of people in the need reached by aid. Researcher Abi Stoddard said that the report shows that a restrictive government combined with insecurity and active fighting can completely hamstring the aid response for months. Almost all respondents said they needed help, and 43% said they had received at least some kind of help. The most common form of aid requested and received was food, healthcare, clean water, and sanitation services, where the services next most is demand. However, electricity and telecommunications topped the answers to an open-ended question on what people needed most. Only 2% of respondents said they had received any help other than food, Some 31% said they don't know the main obstacle to accessing aid, but 23% blamed government restrictions and 21% a lack of safety. Non-government military were to blame, according to 16%. Mobile phone surveys will always be limited by the degree of phone ownership and coverage. And in this case, we had to pause it a couple of times due to power outages, explained Stoddard. Respondents tend to skew more urban and educated as rule. In this case, we mainly reach people who were still in their home district. Limited access. According to the international aid community, government restrictions as well as insecurity and fighting have been preventing sufficient relief aid from getting through. The government has relaxed some of its restrictions on media and aid groups, following sustained international lobbying. Significant volumes of food aid are being delivered to the region by the UN and NGOs. Addis Ababa insists progress is being made to normalize the situation and deliver help, and to investigate rights abuses. However, the UN's latest map of humanitarian access shows only small pockets of the region as fully open to relief aid provision. Asked about which aid agencies were most active, respondents mentioned the Relief Society of Tigray, the REST, and the International Committee of the Red Cross. Formerly affiliated to the now Tigray People's Liberation Front, is the final link in the chain for a large food aid operation serviced by NGO, including Catholic Relief Services. Food and starvation crimes. Even as larger volumes of aid are being sent into the region, aid agencies head interviewed anonymously as part of the survey don't have full confidence in where it is going, although humanitarian organizations are doing their best to monitor their distributions. Some are worried about possible discrimination and exclusion who gets aid and about the degree of control that authorities or armed actors are exerting over processes of targeting and distribution. The latest updates by the UN Humanitarian Office, the OCHA, reports an extremely concerning malnutrition situation. A new report by the World Peace Foundation, whose authors include the Horn of Africa and famine analyst Alex de Waal, states that Ethiopian and Eritrean belligerents in the war in Tigray have comprehensively dismantled the region's economy and food system. The report continued, regardless of who is responsible for the outbreak of hostilities, the sole reason for the scale of the humanitarian agency is that the coalition of Ethiopian Federal Forces, Amara Regional Forces, and Eritrean troops are committing starvation crimes on large scale. Prior to the outbreak of war in November, the Tigray region had mostly achieved food security, the report noted, but in March, the US-founded Famine Early Warning System Network, the FEWSNET, classified at least 20% of the population of both central and eastern Tigray, in addition to several sections of northwestern and southeastern Tigray, as experiencing emergency levels of food insecurity. Based on those figures, the report stated that there are now 50 to 100 excess deaths every day. And if the food security situation is not stabilized, it would lead to mass starvation and the risk of famine in the coming months. Let's all take note of this situation in Tigray. This is where we end today's episode on the focus on the Horn of Africa. Please like, share, comment. Go to our link below, GoFundMe, $1 a day challenge, or you can follow our PayPal link as well, just to donate to help our channel grow, bring you more effective news. Thanks for watching.